What's going on, Falcon fans? It's your boy Ricondo coming back at you with another video. So today we're going to talk about the second year quarterbacks that was drafted last year in 2022 draft, and about the potential that all these six guys can actually do. You know, what kind of jump they're going to have from year one to year two. Will they all get a chance to start, or are they going to be playing backup roles? So that's what we're going to talk about. And the question is, which one of these quarterbacks is going to have the biggest jump going to year two? And the question, will our quarterback, Desmond Ridder, be amongst them? And if not, why not? So guys, before we get into that, if you have not already, go ahead and please subscribe to this channel. Please hit that notification bell so you know when I drop another video. Please hit the like button so I know you guys out here I talk about. Then please share my video throughout the YouTube universe so more people can come in and hear me talk about these Atlanta Falcons. So we're going to start this off by saying the 2022 quarterback draft class was really not that highly touted, right? Because there was only one quarterback out of that draft that was actually picked in the first round. And that was a quarterback, Kenny Pickett, going to the Pittsburgh Steelers at number 20. So most of the quarterbacks that, a lot of people thought, and some of these quarterbacks was actually high on a lot of draft boards. I think if you look at a guy like Desmond Ridder, he was actually picked to go in the first round. Of course, we know all the hype they had on Malik Willis. Sam Howell, if he would have came out here early, they had a first round grade on him. So a lot of these guys, just for some reason, fell down the draft board a lot. It was a surprise to a lot of the analysts and scouts out there. And we'll definitely, this draft class for quarterbacks is going to be talked about for years, especially if some of these guys, was able to have long careers and things like that. Start to kind of question, why they dropped so far. But at the end of the day, when you're get drafted, no matter where you get drafted at, it's all about, where you go, how you play, and how your career end up. I mean, we look at guys like a Jerry Rice, look at a guy on our own team that was picked in the fifth round, and got like a guy like Grady Jarrett. Of course, everybody knows the story about Tom Brady getting drafted so late. A guy like Russell Wilson getting drafted in the third round. A guy like Dak Prescott getting drafted in the fourth round. So, it's stories about guys going later in drafts and they have successful careers. So it really doesn't matter where you get drafted. And a lot of times when fans look at quarterbacks and they think, well, he got drafted so late, he must not be that talented. Well, that's really not the case. Maybe, they didn't see something that the other team that did draft him see, like a Tom Brady, right? When he was at the University of Michigan, obviously nobody seen, the guy turning into what he turned into, by some people saying he arguably the GOAT. So that's where you have to look at things. And I really believe that at a lot of times that it really comes down to the situation that these young quarterbacks come into. You got look like a guy like David Carr when he went to the Houston Texans, right? I think he was put out there to fail. He got sacked so many times coming in, and by the time he actually had a good offensive line, he probably had PTSD for getting hit so many times by defensive linemen and things like that, and he could never get his career back on track. So you look at a guy like Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning was put right in the fire. 4-year quarterback at the University of Tennessee, and just let him go out there and struggle through, all the things, learning how to be a starter in the NFL. And guys, we know how many interceptions Peyton Manning threw in his first season. If you don't know, go back and look. It was a lot. But he worked through that, and, look at his career, came out to be one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game. So it always depends on the situation you go into. Look at a guy like Troy Aikman as well. Started off bad, 3 Super Bowls. So at the end of the day, it really gonna boils down to the situation, your coaching staff believing in you, the players that put around you, and if you're going to have a good development team around you to actually help you develop. A lot of time nowadays, these young quarterbacks really don't have, development teams to get them, and then they get rushed out there and get labeled a bust so quick. So hopefully we're going to see a different trajectory for some of these guys, and we're going to talk about some of them today. And at the end of the day, we're definitely going to talk about what I think about Desmond Ridder and his year 2 coming into the NFL, and potentially what he can actually do for our Atlanta Falcons. So we're going to start off with quarterback Kenny Pickett. Of course, Kenny Pickett did not start the season as a starter. They had Mitch Trubisky in there, but he ended up playing 12 games, and it was a typical rookie season for Kenny Pickett. He threw 9 interceptions and 7 touchdowns. A lot of those interceptions did come early in his first, 3 or 4 starts. So he did kind of settle down, start to get a grasp of the offense, and he played a little bit better towards the end of the season. You can actually see that. So Pittsburgh Steelers probably kind of like what they see in a guy like Kenny Pickett, but he did have a slow start. He had a rookie typical season for a guy that's trying to learn the speed of the NFL, the different defensive formations, trying to learn the terminology and things like that. So everything that you expected from a rookie quarterback, a guy like Kenny Pickett, I thought we seen. But I think that the Pittsburgh Steelers, the things I talked about, he's in a great situation, great coaching staff, great development plan, great players around him. They just brought in Allen Robinson at receiver. They got George Pickens there. They got a great running game, and their defense is pretty solid as well. So I believe Kenny Pickett is definitely going to be put in a good situation moving forward. And this time is going to be tell if he live up to that first round pick. But he's definitely in a great situation if you're looking at a guy like Kenny Pickett. The next guy we're definitely going to talk about, I'm going to skip over Desmond Ridder. Of course, he was the second quarterback drafted in last year's draft, but we're going to save him for last because he's our guy. The next guy I'm going to talk about is Malik Willis. Malik Willis only had a couple of starts. Actually, I think he had 3 starts. I think he went 1 and 2. But he did not fare well at all. His first stint playing up on the center as a starter in Tennessee, where to the fact that the Tennessee Titans actually decided to go out and draft Will Levis in the 2nd round. And they also already have Ryan Tannehill there. So Malik Willis, in my opinion, did not get put in a good situation to let him develop and learn. Tennessee Titans still trying to win. They feel like they have a roster that can actually win games. They don't so-called call themselves in a rebuild mode. And this is where a guy like Malik Willis, who we all felt like needed, time to develop and things like that, is put in a situation where now he has to fight for his career, trying to be on a team. Of course, bringing a guy like Will Levis 2nd round, you're thinking that he's going to be the heir apparent to a guy like Ryan Tannehill. But according to some of the reports out there, Malik Willis is actually outplaying Will Levis, during the offseason program. So that battle is definitely going to be interesting. Picking a guy in the 2nd round, and then, picking another guy in the 3rd round the year before. It's going to be interesting to see what they decide to do with Malik Willis and Will Levis. And of course, the veteran Ryan Tannehill, that's there, who went home record last year saying that it's not his job to get the young quarterbacks ready, because he's still trying to be a starter himself in this league. So I don't feel like Malik Willis is in a good situation, but we'll just have to see how that pans out for him. We know that he came from the Liberty, which he was going to definitely need time to grow and be groomed. And one thing I talked about early was the development plan for quarterbacks. And if they're not going to try to develop Malik Willis, they should go ahead and see can they get a trade. Send him to a team that somebody is definitely going to try to let him sit back behind a veteran quarterback where he can develop and learn the football game and learn how to read defenses, understand the play calling, and gets the speed of the game like he need to, right? So that's what I feel about a guy like Malik Willis, and it's gonna be interesting to see what would transpire, in training camp for the Tennessee Titans. The next guy is Sam Howell on the list. Sam Howell actually played one game last year. Now, I talked about it. If Sam Howell would have came out in 2021 draft, he was actually projected to be a number one a first round draft pick. However, he stayed a year, lost some of his offensive line, some of his skill players, and his year didn't turn out the way that he thought it would, and he actually started to dip down and down people draft boards, and it showed in the draft last season. So that's where it actually happened for Sam Howell. But Ron Rivera believes in Sam Howell. He basically said that if he would have came out of here early, that's the way they're scouting him as that first round pick, the season prior. And they got a new offensive coordinator in Eric Bieniemy, who just came from the Kansas City Chiefs. He has a good solid defense, to be on the other side of the ball to help him not have to score so many points. He got a number one receiver in Terry McLaurin, and they brought in, Jahan Dotson as well. Great running game. I think Sam Howell is put in a good situation to actually be successful. If he can be a good game manager and things like that, I think Sam Howell is going to be in a good situation. So it's going to be interesting to see Sam Howell going forward with this team. That division is pretty stout with the Philadelphia Eagles, of course, the NFC champions. Of course, they got the Cowboys over there who think they're going to win the Super Bowl every year. And then, like I said, a pretty good solid defense with the Commanders. And all Sam Howell got to do is just get the ball to his playmakers, run the ball, have a good solid running game, and he might not be asked to do a lot. So it's going to be interesting to see what actually happened with Sam Howell going into, in my sense, his rookie season this year, playing just that last game of the season, which he actually played really well in that game. Next guy is Bailey Zapp. Of course, so the New England Patriots kind of did what the Tennessee Titans did. They drafted Matt Jones the year prior. Then they went right back behind that and drafted Bailey Zapp the next season. Bailey Zapp actually had some starts last season, towards the end of the season. I think that the decision that the New England Patriots made to bring in a defensive coordinator to be the offensive coordinator really hurt Matt Jones' development going into his year 2 season. Now they're bringing in a actual offensive coordinator. I think Matt Jones might be able to get back on track, but if not, definitely the fans in New England going to be calling for Bailey Zapp. But he did not light the ball on fire as well when he got in the game. So that quarterback carousel in New England really going to be interesting. Matt Jones had a great rookie season, but like I said, I think it stunted his growth bringing in Patricia to be the defensive a defensive coordinator to be the offensive coordinator last season, which really hurt Matt Jones. So Matt Jones can get back on track and definitely be able to see if he can, hold off Bailey Zapp not taking his starting position. That's something that's really going to be interesting. All right. And then last but not least, of course, Brock Purdy. We know Mr. Irrelevant himself being the last person in the draft pick. Of course, nobody could expect to see the things that Brock Purdy was able to do when he was inserted into the San Francisco's 49ers starting lineup. Maybe Kyle Shanahan did, but of course, that offense is definitely quarterback friendly, being able to run the ball like they run, getting the quarterback easy throws based, off the run game. So he went actually 7-1 during the season. Lit the league on fire. His confidence was oozing. You can see every game he played, he got more and more confident, and he felt like he really belonged in this league. So you gotta love what Brock Purdy was able to do. However, it's really gonna be interesting because now defenses actually have tape on Brock Purdy and be able to look at some of his weaknesses and things like that. Moving forward, right now he's actually recovering from his injury because we know he got injured in the NFC Championship game. But the word is he's going to be back by training camp. Hopefully, we'll definitely see. Interesting with this, Trey Lance, a guy that the 49ers actually moved up ahead of the Atlanta Falcons to actually pick Trey Lance. And now he's on the outside looking in, but the 49ers did mention it will be a quarterback competition between Trey Lance and Brock Purdy. However, the success Brock Purdy had last year, you would think that he is the front runner to actually keep that starting position. But Brock Purdy is definitely in a great situation with one of the best defenses in the league. Of course, DeMeco Ryan has left to be a head coach for the Texans, but those players are still there, so they're gonna have a stout defense, to help out a guy like Brock Purdy. Kyle Shanahan is one of the best offensive coordinators, play callers in the league. Like I said, he's gonna put Brock Purdy in good positions to not make mistakes. Running the game is going to be really, really solid, and that play action is going to make sure he's throwing the ball to open receivers and tight ends. So you got the position that Brock Purdy is going to be in. So guys, with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about our second-year quarterback in Desmond Ridder. We know Desmond Ridder was picked number 74 overall. I think the Atlanta Falcons was really excited that he was still on the board at this time, and picking a guy that they really liked that late. Some people say, well, why they didn't pick him earlier? Maybe because they felt that they had greater needs at the time, guys that might have been higher on the board. Whatever the reason is, I think Desmond Ridder actually fell into a perfect situation with a guy like Arthur Smith. Similar to what the San Francisco 49ers run, going to be a run-heavy offense. We already, know about all the weapons that's going to be surrounded by Desmond Ridder, with a guy like Kyle Pitts, Drake London. Of course, we know we just drafted Bijan Robinson in this year's draft. Tyler Algier, 1,000-yard rusher from last year. Bringing in a guy like Jonnu Smith. Desmond Ridder is definitely put in a good situation. One of my key things was you got to be put in a great situation. I think Desmond Ridder definitely is put in a good situation to succeed. Those 4 starts that he had at the end of the season was really good for him. Did not get as many starts as a Purdy or a Pickett, but at the same time, those 4 starts definitely is going to help a guy like Desmond Ridder. If you think about it, he already knows the offense, already kind of has the speed of the game, and going into our entire off-season program being touted as the number 1 guy, knowing that he's going to be quarterback 1 under center this season, I think it's going to really help Desmond Ridder. Between a guy like Kenny Pickett and a guy like Desmond Ridder, who played a lot of football in college, we know Desmond Ridder is one of the winningest quarterback in college football history. Never lost a game at home when he played at the University of Cincinnati. So that confidence is definitely there. You can actually see it. You can hear it when he speaks. Everybody talks about the leadership that Desmond Ridder has. All those things are intangible. A lot of things that you can't actually see on the field. But I really believe that most of the times when you're looking at quarterbacks, most of it is up here in the brain, the physical abilities and things like that. You can always see that on the field, and on when you're looking at film, right? You look at a guy like Jamarcus Jamarcus Russell had all the skills, but mentally he just could not get it. A guy like Ryan Leaf is another guy that you can mention that had all the skills, but on the field, mentally just couldn't get it, right? So it all going to boil down to Desmond Ridder being able to understand the offense, being able to read defense, and being able to be poised. Being an NFL quarterback in the league, it's all about your poise, being able to not to panic. Everything is going 100 miles per hour, but as a quarterback, especially the greats, able to slow it down and be able to deliver the ball where it needs to be delivered. You see that with a guy like Tom Brady. You've seen it so many years with a guy like Peyton Manning. You've even seen it for a guy that had a nickname of Matty Ice because he played just so cool, so calm under pressure. And we know Matt Ryan consistently stayed up under pressure pretty much his whole career. So that's the kind of quarterback we hope we get in Desmond Ridder. I feel like he showed flashes of that in those 4 starts, especially if you look at what he did on 3rd and 4th down completions. His poise, being able to stay in the pocket, looking down the pass rush and not flinching, still delivering the ball where it needs to be delivered. Those are the kind of things that you can't really teach. And the things that you can, the accuracy issues that he may have had, that's where you can work on. And what I want to talk about when we talk about accuracy, one of the most inaccurate quarterbacks that has really turned around in the recent years, if you look at a guy like Josh Allen. Josh Allen, first 2 seasons in the league, throwing 52% completion. Now, in his 3rd season, finally the light clicked on and he was able to be one of the best quarterbacks. So accuracy and things like that, sometimes it may not never turn around, but I think the biggest thing is mentally, if these guys can stay out of their own head. I talked about a guy like David Carr, just could never get it because he started getting shell shock, getting hit so many times first when he started coming into the league. So that's what I think about Desmond Ridder. I believe Desmond Ridder is in a great situation. Defense going to be much improved. I think this defense is probably better than, most of Matt Ryan defenses he ever played with during his career. I think Matt Ryan maybe had 1 top 10 defense, maybe 2 in his 14 years with the Atlanta Falcons. Desmond Ridder is coming in a better situation, and like I said, if you look at a guy like Kenny Pickett, look at a guy like Brock Purdy, going to be run heavy, playing a lot of play action, and just don't make mistakes, being able to be that ultimate game manager, getting the ball to your playmakers. Out these 3 quarterbacks, Purdy, a Pickett, and a Ridder, I believe Desmond Ridder has the best supporting cast from an offensive standpoint to be able to deliver the ball. He has an excellent play caller in Arthur Smith as well. So when we talk about that question that I brought up earlier, which one of these quarterbacks has the potential to have the biggest jump? Definitely going to say Pickett, Purdy if he wins, and Desmond Ridder. I'm going to put Desmond Ridder in there as well because of the situations that they're putting in from their teams. Who comes out on top? Time will tell. But these 3 quarterbacks definitely, could change the trajectory of this quarterback draft class if they can come out and be potential franchise quarterback for their teams moving forward. And then they can look at all the scouts and all the, football pundits who had those guys picked so low, right? And then they can start writing stories, just like all the other guys that was not drafted in the first round, and being able to write their own careers and see how far they can go. Another guy, honorable mention guy, definitely Sam Howell. I'm interested to see what a guy like Eric Bieniemy can do with him. We know Andy Reid was in Kansas City, but Eric Bieniemy did have something to do with that offense in Kansas City. So it's going to be interesting to see what Sam Howell is able to do. The other two, Bailey Zapp and Malik Willis, probably will not get a chance to start. So my three guys that definitely is going to be in the mix for having the biggest uptake this year is going to be Pickett, Ridder, and Purdy. We just have to see, and I believe that because of the situation that all three of those guys are going to be in. But guys, let me know what you think about these second-year quarterbacks. Which quarterback do you think have the best chance to have the biggest impact on their team this upcoming season? I'm definitely hoping ours, Desmond Ridder, can live up to what a lot of us fans think that he can. He really has the talk, right? He has the confidence. He's showing that leadership, but he got to be able to put it on the field and put it all together. And we're definitely going to be there to see it happen live, in color, and can't wait. So guys, that's all I have for today. This is your boy Ricondo coming back at you with another video. Peace.